Hey everybody, Brian here, quantlabs.net. Okay, so here is a Wall Street Journal article that was sent over from Nuno on my Facebook group. And this is big news. So you get the pretty well, love him or hate him, Steve Cohen, considered number one most profitable hedge fund manager on the planet, is now going to invest $250 million from his family office to invest a part of that into Quantopian. Now, hopefully you know Quantopian. You know, they've got some questionable performance lately. In a few months ago, I'm sure they'll turn that around and become a really big powerhouse in terms of independent ways of trading. Now, this article I'm going to go over. It's on Wall Street Journal. Some may not have access to it, but somehow I got in without registering and all that. But let's go over this article, some of the highlights, and I'm going to show you some links of things that I've looked at concerning Point 72, which is Steve Cohen's new hedge fund or family office that he's now managing after he was so-called accused of insider trading with his SAC advisors. So, going through the article, who's making, is going to put aside $250 million, amazing, for mechanical and nuclear scientists. Now, this is what he calls do-it-yourself computer traders. I'd be considered that, I guess. And again, he's managing this Point 72 management. We'll get into that in a minute. He's going to make an investment into Quantopian itself. Its commitments to being part of a broader push into money management, to embrace quantitative investing, which is of course quantitative analysis that we've used, focusing on statistical patterns and stocks. Now, I've just removed, or in the process of removing, that equity pair trading statistical arbitrage strategy from my membership. It will be gone forever. And of course, we'll be working on things for these areas as well. Currencies, with a global macro view. We've got another one for futures and another one for options, all based upon fundamental. And I guess you could consider the bonds, because part of this futures will analyze the bonds, but my currency one with the global macro view will focus on what the U.S. Fed does as well, the impact that it'll have on that. So even as hedge funds long touted their ability to beat the market, are employing techniques borrowed from the quants, such as using data science to predict market movements and confirm hypothesis connections between events. Some funds, for example, are combing through the aggregated credit card sales to predict earnings of retail firms. Now, I've highlighted an article on that. Let me just go to my blog here. Actually, why don't we do this? A while back, what I did was on Business Insider, there was an article that I just posted on best performing hedge funds. And let's try now. Why don't we do it this way? Blog, go to my blog, probably be easier. Okay, so now what we want to do is we are going to look for, hopefully, businessinsider.com. This article will come up. Okay, so much on the go. Now, we'll do it this way. Best performing, let's look for hedge fund. Okay, this is the, I think it was this article here. And hopefully that will have what I'm looking for my Business Insider article. Now again, there's the Frat Boy article. This video is doing quite well on YouTube. But this is the article I wanted to pull up. regarding systematic trading. Now this was just posted back in February 2016. Here are the best performing hedge funds. Okay, so one area of asset management is this managed futures. So again, we're going to focus on that in a little bit. We've got managed futures. Now, this is where it gets interesting, is about, I'm estimating a third of these are systematic or computerized funds. So we got credit, managed futures, again, managed futures, but here we go, quantitative. We've got systematic, there was a computerized one. You can see managed futures is pretty well dominating everything. Again, systematic, using that global macro view I was just mentioning. Let's see, there's more and more. Renaissance Technology, I think Renaissance Technology was in there. Not sure if that's Renaissance Technology. Renaissance Technology, I'm assuming. And again, I think I mentioned this one, quantitative and again, systematic. Okay, so that confirms everything for that, the best performing current hedge funds that are just getting crushed right now. Back to our article of Steve Cohen. Now, we talked about SAC Capital, talked about that, here's 0.72. Fund will allow Quantopian to ramp up its investing and allocate more trading algorithms into using Quantopian. Obviously, Quantopian has to meet certain metrics for more investment, which makes sense. Here's where it gets interesting. We got 85,000 users, 400,000 algorithms on the web-based platform. It's a quantitative group with Millennium. I think that they're backing Quantopian, and QuantConnect's another one that we've done a presentation on from Jared. Good platform, again, I guess it's equivalent. That's .NET C#. Okay, so it talks about Quantopian, hopefully you know about that. Might fit into the hedge funds overall trading. And blah, 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 blah. So this totally legitimizes from one of the best hedge fund managers on the planet about the future of these do-it-yourself computer traders. So just legitimizing what I'm trying to do as well. Difference between Quantopian and myself is we're trying to show you the entire end-to-end process that you own and control, and not just worry about algorithms, and have reveal your intellectual property once you submit it to their Quantopian servers. Again, I'm not insinuating they lift your trading ideas through the algorithm that you submit. I don't think they do that, but you don't know. But outside of that, when you get something like Steve Cohen putting in $250 million in these type of funds and actually believes in it, that's a big deal. So let's go over and look at what Quantopian itself is doing. So if you were to search my blog for 0.72, you'll notice here I've done some research on this. And here's the first one is SAC, or 0.72 hires 30 big data for investing. We talked about the expand offices. Here's a tech job, bunch of technical needs for 0.72 when it comes to HFT. You'll notice here, this is what they're looking for, C++, Python, I think are the top skills that they're looking for. You can go into these job descriptions yourself. Obviously they're looking for machine learning, particularly modeling, time series analysis, and all that stuff. I talked about this with machine learning, natural language, no different than linguistics. Skill sets are looking for Java or C++, SQL helps as well. Software development, namely in Java. I think that they're all over the map. There's a video on the company and that approach. Citadel, another big firm, does the same thing. But here's where it gets interesting. If you remember my Deltix presentation for HFT, you'll notice in here that Stuart Farr, the president of Deltix that I met in New York a few years ago, was quoted mentioning that I think .72 may be using it. I can't say. But there was an article here on that. So here is a video presentation with Deltix, Ilya, who did a presentation on this, on Deltix, and this is considered probably, from my point of view, probably the #1 trading system on the planet in terms of what it can do. There's an hour presentation here that you can get to see that platform in action. It's absolutely amazing. But one takeaway I've always loved was the metric of 1 million transactions per second using their internal database time base. But hopefully with our Redux solution we can get 1.2 million. So hopefully we can get past that. That'd be awesome. But anyways, back to .72. They may be using Deltix. So they may be all over the map in terms of investigating what is legit, what's not. As I said earlier, I've been tapped now for developing a HFT system for somebody privately, which is pretty well going to be the same code base that I'm going to be using for my own system. And he's considered one of the best traders in the planet. I'm not going to go into that, but just wanted to show you that there is a definite interest on this. So thought I'd showcase that and this article as well. I'll put the link in there. Again, thanks to super fan Nuno for sending this to me. This is a big deal. All right, hopefully I'll help you out. Talk to you later.